Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Emerging Data Technologies, Visram van Buizen's newest webinar. Today, 4 companies will present their data-driven solution in a form of a 15-minute pitch. Our companies are going to present about the areas of artificial intelligence, data governance, Excel automation, and data virtualization. Each speaker gets the word for 15 minutes, then we'll quickly move on to the next one. During the webinar, you can ask your questions via Zoom. You'll see a box below where you can panel your text to the panel members and the attendees. Please ask your questions there, and afterwards we'll host a Q&A. Every speaker gets exactly 15 minutes. So once I share the screen to our first speaker, Relevance, we'll start the time. And after Relevance, Genie, Specify, and Pick Your Brain will also do their part. So I'd say good luck, and the screen is all yours, René.
Thank you.
And the time starts now.
Okay, welcome everybody to this session of the webinar Emerging Data Technology. My name is René Voortman. Welcome to this session. During this 15-minute presentation, I will focus on the relevance technology. I will show and explain the emerging technology of relevance. Let's look at the area we are in. On the left, we see the users in or outside organizations. They need insights and make decisions based on their questions of today. End users need answers now and should be facilitated to help them make those decisions. They see a world of data around them. On the right top, we encounter that the volume of data is exploding, and we haven't seen the end of it yet. On the right bottom, the picture represents the increase of variety of data. Traditional data, for example, coming from ERP or CRM systems, the structured data, versus more unstructured data like websites, social media, email, Word, and PDF documents. The volume and variety of data needs to be prepared for the end users. This is mostly the task for the IT. They used to support them by setting up data warehouses, data marts, and even multiple data lakes. Labor intensive and long lead times, where, as said, the users need answers now. And once they get an answer, directly a new question comes up and the cycle starts again. With relevance technology, we have a solution. Relevance is a database with a specific feature. We call it the Associative Information Management System. No more months of work. Connect, discover, and report in minutes or hours. But what is this associative technology? What makes it so different from other databases and methods? In the next slides, I will give you an overview of this patented relevance technology. And at the end, I will give you some business examples and references where this technology is very helpful. Let's start the tour around the magical relevance world. A lot of the magic is happening when ingesting data and creating the associative database. It is fully automated and therefore not visible. I will take you through that automated process and explain and show what happens when we ingest data and how the associative database is populated, without any consulting labor involved. We are able to ingest data from any type of data source, structured or unstructured, with or without data preparation. For the first step, when you ingest data into Relevance, Relevance will interpret what you offer. It will read the structure of tables and fields. And Relevance creates its own storage system without modeling, and it turns it into an associative system. This is based on the principle that every object, field, concept and data element is only stored once. It is an atomic storage system, and it deduplicates everything. Look at this picture, like content of a customer, a contact, and employee loaded in the system. The items like name, address, city are only stored once, with the relations to customers, contacts, and employee. Relevance creates its own structure and an associative database. On top of this step, it does the same with values. Red is only stored once, with relation to, for instance, a traffic light, a car, blood, or tomato. And even in names like Jim Smith and Jim Brown, Jim will be stored once, related to Smith and Brown. Next, Relevance will detect all kinds of routes. It sees patterns coming from Moscow to Bahamas, Madrid, and even up to London. And it creates the associative context. It could be a flight, a pipeline, or even bank transactions, tagged as route A, for instance. So in the end, Relevance contains thousands or even millions of associations and patterns, and this is to reflect the data, the tables, fields, contexts, and the metadata. Relevance creates and maintains its own database structure. On top of the atomic storage, it defines its own keys. And therefore, the Relevance database gets its structure, regardless new uploads or historical changes. And everything is related. It has security by design, GDPR proof, encryption, and data lineage. No programming is needed. All those keys are related to each other. We can visualize this one in a graphical diagram, but maybe it's better if we refer to it as the brain as a metaphor. Our brain stores each atom of information networked to its associated concepts. Your brain does not need to recall by writing a query. It instantly pulls up the associated information. You do not have to know where the name is, where it is stored, or from what system the data is collected. And Relevance has its own optimized load balancer, which can handle enormous amounts of servers and treat them as one system. The Relevance system is a database, is one system, and one single storage of data with all those associations. You do not need to move data to duplicate or aggregate. So each organization or individu can have a Relevance associated management system. But without moving data, we can share data and patterns across those brains to share personal information, health information, even your CV. No multiple uploads or versions of data and documents. One version you own and by security can be shared. And so you can, across multiple Relevance databases, without actually containing the data in your own system, this is based on what you share and for whom you share it. To summarize the Relevance as an associative information management system. We can take care of the storage of huge data volumes and variety, create an associative system for data and pattern discovery, including security by design. We can make sure that you can ingest the data using an API or directly using ETL tools. And we provide an output mechanism that supports data retrieval and the logic of the relevance, allowing other systems and processes to integrate for creating your own UI and application. You can say relevance is the middleware of these elements. And to show you some examples of the output of what comes out, this could be an output you can have a look at, some visualization and output formats. But you could think of many more as well. So to recap the magic, basic principles and patented features, and those positive side effects of the core technology. We have the associative database, connecting everything, building up on the fly, and you get answers to questions you never asked. No data modeling. The structure and the storage is automatically created regardless what type of data you're loading. We have one set of data and use multiple models to support the users. So you can create your own set of data, business definitions, and logic. So for instance, you can create a common data model, IFRS model, AML, GDPR, and version of previous data models. They can exist together without moving the data. Data duplication, a single object only stored once, and you have a reduction of at least 70% of your data. We have a very easy and intelligent loading of the data, and it automatically only loads the differences in the association, and it's stored atomically. You have an instant and pattern data discovery platform. And because of all the above elements and principles, we are very fast in implementing. No enormous labor of setting up and maintaining data warehouses and data lakes. And because of the nature of the storage on disk and the associative way and deduplication, we are handling huge data sets, and we are very fast in that area. And we have security by design is all being taken care of. The software itself is very small. It can be embedded on smart chips as well. Machine learning, a very popular thing. Machine learning is automated and is integrated in the database. We have a self-learning system. It will automatically create the patterns and will learn from itself. So with the relevance technology, we are disruptive and for sure a game changer. We can handle the increased volume and variety of data and deliver augmented intelligence to support users in exploring data, perform analytics in order to make decisions. I promise you to give some examples and use cases for the relevance technology. First, there's the algorithm bias. How do you prevent unwanted forms of discrimination? By using the relevance word association and its pattern recognition principle, you can set up filters on the database to avoid data or integration, data transfer or integration application, and using discriminated words and phrases. Second, in recruitment area, if you use this as a recruitment process, we have a finding and matching mechanism because we do word associations and tag them relate to the requirements of the jobs. A complete new way of discovery and so easy to set up. The last example is more around the purpose of why we're building data warehouses, to combine data from multiple systems to get a single view. For instance, in banking and insurance, around know your customer and AML. Those companies need to perform compliance functions, including efficient gathering and reviewing of new client information, as well as monitoring financial transactions for existing clients to identify suspicious activities. Or for marketing purpose, select a customer and instantly see what products did they buy, what portfolio they possess, and because of the associations, see what products they did not buy. And for the anti-money laundering, detect and report suspicious activities of bank transactions, not just within one bank or country, but even globally. Crime does not stop at the border. We have a reference case of a large bank selecting relevance out of 200 competitors and proven that relevance can solve this issue. And these are just some examples. And for sure, after hearing this story, you can think of many more wonderful solutions as well. This was my presentation of relevance as an emerging data technology. We strongly believe with relevance, we can step into a new era of accelerating the use of data. For more info, you can visit our website or contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, René. That was quite impressive regarding time. You went like 4 seconds overdue, so that's very much okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Once again, for everybody, don't forget to ask your questions regarding every topic in the chat, and I will host a Q&A afterwards, so I will answer most of the questions that have been submitted. And with this, I would like to continue with Daria from Hello Genie. Daria, please take the screen yourself, and I'll start the time when you're ready.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We can.
Okay, cool. So,
Starts now. Good luck.
thank you. So, we are Genie. We help finance become data-driven and future-proof. We help it with data and by providing a one-click reporting experience. Why is finance important? Finance is becoming a third power in driving revenue. So before it was sales and marketing, and now because finance has a lot of data information and analytics, they are going to step up as a third force behind revenue growth. But there is a huge gap between finance in the 20th century and finance in the 21st century. And there's a technological and a skill gap, but mostly technological. And this is what we are trying to cover. One of the big issues with finance is that they are using a lot of Excel, as you know. And I've seen a lot of participants who are coming from finance, so it just underlines the importance of data in finance and how to handle data better, actually. There are two challenges for finance. One, they need to report on the minute, real time. That's one. The other thing is there's a data explosion, so they cannot use the old methods, how they dealt with it. So that's why they need mostly IT, but in IT's eyes, finance is not first priority, but more sales and marketing. So what happens is that people in finance are left to their own devices. Finance is also a moving target. So a new manager comes, a new set of requirements, a new merger comes, and all your old reports that were already in your data warehouse are useless. So you can start everything from scratch. This is what I realized in the beginning of my career. I became a financial analyst at a big corporate, and all I saw was we were like 10, 15 people, and we were copy pasting all day long in Excel. And you would think that Excel can be rooted out. It's not quite true because of the reasons I just told. So what I did, my answer was the constant copy pasting, overtiming, and generally exhausting way of operation is that I learned how to program. But not everyone likes to learn programming. So that's why we came up with Genie. Genie is named after the gene from the lamp, the magical gene, because when I learned how to program and I basically programmed all the steps that I had to do in Excel or using Excel, it felt like I had a gene. So basically I could grab a cup of coffee, push the button, grab a cup of coffee, come back, 4 hours of work done within a couple of minutes. And basically, this is the feeling that we want to give to financials, that you don't need to code, you don't need to go through what I had to go through as a financial, you don't need to learn programming for 1 to whatever years, but you've got a tool set. It's like a Swiss Army knife that you can use anytime, anywhere, basically daily, until the big dream comes true and everything will be placed in one source and everything will be flexible and everything will be AI driven. We need to focus on reality, and what's today is that up to 70% of data preparation is basically done manually, unfortunately. So if you think that data preparation and cleaning is a walk in the park, then you are wrong, because what happens is that you have to go through a really large, huge adventure until you get maybe this point. And then at this point, you can start analyzing your data and extracting the real value out of it. But it's quite a long way. And it's not only long, but it's also taking too much time. So that's why we came up with the concept of Genie. Basically, these little jumps you can do, you can build up as building blocks like a Lego, and you can jump through very easily all these hula hoops until you can get basically an automated workflow within Excel or using Excel, but also Outlook. This year we are going to also include Word, PowerPoint, to get to your destination, to the real work, and to do work that you love. Now you could think, wait a moment, don't we have big systems? We have an ERP, we have SAP, we have Power BI, we have all types of magic. Why do we need Genie? And what's Genie's place? Well, Genie is your everyday flexible tool. It's not going to replace any of your big systems. It's going to complement it. Until the big dream, comes when everything will be one source, everything will be AI driven, and so on and so on and so on. So what I'm going to show you now is 3 use cases where you can see how Genie works. And I hope that I'm going to mute myself because otherwise you will hear the music, which can be quite loud. First use case, what you can very frequently be confronted is that you've got dates that are not properly formatted. And it can come from a supplier because let's be honest, you cannot always control where your files are coming from. So I'm going to show you how you can do with one click, how to cleanse data or dates. We can unmute, but you are going to hear the music. So basically, you can see here that everything is in the normal format as you would expect. and it took only just one click. And I've got 2 more use cases. The next one, sorry. Next one is how to collect PDF invoices. Not everyone has automated invoice collection processes. And what you can usually see is you might come from a corporate environment, you might work for a big mammoth, but believe me, there are plenty of organizations who are struggling every single day, or at least at month end close when it's peak time, to collect their information from inboxes. And one of the biggest issues is how to save PDF from email. You wouldn't believe it, but really this is what's happening. So I want to show you how we do it with one click, basically from any supplier, any one we can collect their information. You can click the execute button and you've got all the invoices here. And there is the next use case, which is mostly relevant when you've got, for example, a huge file, a big file that you downloaded from a source system, and then you want to split it up because maybe you want to send several files to a couple of managers, and then so split it up and send it to managers because they want to give you input about the budget, what they think is going to be for next year. And this is also something that you can do with one click. These are cost centers, and we are going to get files that collect information based on those cost centers. And the nice thing about Genie is that you can readily use it. So it's in that maturity phase when you can download it. We are 2 founders, me, Daria Huszár, and Peter Huszár, my partner. And basically, we are very sure that you can transform your finance with Genie. Not only finance, by the way, because we also see interest from data scientists, from supply chain managers, accounts payable managers, FP&A, who are really enthusiastic about Genie and its possibilities. And again, until the big dream comes true that everything will be one source and immediately at our disposal, we recommend that you do download Genie and start using it today. We do have some fun, because we like to have fun. We do have some fun contests. So if you download it, you will see that you can have not only a more effective, but also a more fun experience also at work, because this is also one of our big dreams, that it's not only in consumer world that you can have fun and interesting experiences, but also at work. So it doesn't need to be dull and basically gray all day long. So this was my presentation, and I'm going to give the word to Victor.
Thank you, Daria. You still have a minute left. Do you have anything to add? Any final words on Genie?
Basically, yes. maybe you know us already because we have a couple of tools, and one of them is the growth rate combo chart. If you use Power BI, then you might have already downloaded it. We do have a couple of tools like this, and but basically Genie is the most innovative one.
Okay, thank you for your time. Okay, we're gonna go on to the third speaker, Specify Max Ulte. Max is gonna speak on the artificial intelligence surrounding Internet of Things. Good luck, Max. Time starts when you open your presentation.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Victor. I will share my screen. So I think you all can see my screen now. First of all, I would like to give a big thanks to Visser & Van Baars and Victor for organizing and hosting this great event, and to give an opportunity to present Specify to you all. My name is Max Ulte, and I'm the Sales and Partnerships Manager within Specify. I'm responsible for the commercial activities, and I act as a point of contact to and from our partners. That being said, here you'll see the agenda for today's presentation that I'm going to present to you. The main goal of today is to give you more helpful insights regarding the benefits of centralizing all your data into one environment, one BI tool, enriching your data with external data sources, and implementing machine learning algorithms. So we will be walking through the common challenges and problems that occur within most companies regarding data processing and visualization. So for instance, companies that still make decisions based on gut feelings instead of their factual data, creating time-consuming manually reports or spreadsheets, and even how to determine and correlate and measure the right KPIs out of your own data, your own factual data. So how Specify's approach and solution can help solve these problems. So we'll also cover our cloud-based infrastructure, a state-of-the-art cloud-based infrastructure, partnership approach, and our business module there. And I'll be showing you a live parking anonymized case study in our business intelligence tool, and obviously the Q&A, well, that speaks for itself. Specify is a startup company, but that's just technically speaking. The Specify team had already worked closely for a period of over 8 years in a large company called the TKH Group. To give you an idea about who is the TKH Group, they own about 140 different companies under their umbrella, and they do 1.6 billion turnover when we left them. They're also a stock-listed multinational, and we were the TKH innovations team, dedicated to handle data processing and the latest cloud-based technologies, and implementing AI-based solutions to cater the customers' needs, and also for the companies that were operating under the TKH umbrella and had issues dealing with these common challenges. The team had a desire to start something for themselves, and the spin-off Specify was born basically early last year. And we are a team of comprised of highly educated, skilled data scientists and software engineers. So that gives you an idea about our origin. So we solve, what kind of problems? A lot of companies have generated a lot of data over the years and are now starting to become more and more aware about the fact how powerful and valuable their data could be for their operations. But most decisions are still being made based on gut feelings and expertise instead upon their own factual data. The problem is that the data is usually scattered across multiple systems and that these systems don't normally communicate with each other. Getting insights out of your system could be challenging and rather time-consuming, especially when this is not your core business. Companies are usually still manually creating and aggregating reports or spreadsheets. A lot of companies are still doing this time-consuming process. It's painful, and in an effort of getting some insights in their operations. So there are companies experimenting with Power BI or other BI tools, but bear in mind about 70% out of all BI implementations do not meet expectations due to the fact that they lack resources like hiring in-house experts to maintain, analyze, clean, and correlate data the efficient way. A solid plan and approach usually is in absence, and measuring the right KPIs can be a difficulty as well, or determine them. And in some cases, you still need to maintain a sensitive, error-sensitive, and time-consuming spreadsheet, or even infrastructure, cloud-based or on-premise, where in-house expertise is definitely required. So Specify addresses the need for the centralizing, cleaning, structuring, and visualizing all your data out of all your scattered systems within your company into one business intelligence tool. In addition, we are able to enrich and correlate your data by adding external data sources, such as, for example, weather forecast, humidities, public events, national holidays, trends, and other data sources that could possibly affect your operations. Specify is there to provide you all the expertise around data challenges and focus to make your business more effective. The data enrichment process helps companies, together with the implementing of AI, to optimize your workflow and forecast or even predict events like, for example, just-in-time delivery more efficiently, predictive maintenance, preventing downtimes, customer behavior and trends, more effective marketing campaigns and understanding of your customers, dynamic pricing strategies based on supply and demand, predicted supply and demand, like for instance, the airliner or the hotel business models that are being used, that are out there already, and many more. And we provide our clients with the fact-based insights based on their own data. So how do we solve these problems exactly, and how does our infrastructure look like? Now, here you'll see a simplified model of the specified data pipeline, where our team of experts have been working on for the last 8 years. Below the surface, there are tons and tons of services running, but for now, I like to keep it as simple as possible and give you a clear idea about it. On the left side, you'll see different data sources out of your different systems within your company. This could be data from your CRM, ERP, Excel sheets, IoT devices, accountancy packages, you name it, and we could automatically ingest it into our pipeline, into our cloud-based infrastructure, because our data pipeline runs in the cloud, and it doesn't matter for us. A data source is a data source, and we clean, select, structure, refine, and enrich your data out of your systems in our data pipeline. And as when it comes out of the data pipeline, we can visualize it into our own in a personalized BI environment. So there are companies out there that can do the data processing or build a dashboard. That isn't really unique. The trick is the combination of it all together in a scalable and secure cloud-based infrastructure where your data is yours and safe. That is what makes us unique. It's a security by design approach, all the way GDPR and AVG approved, of course. Our pricing module is a monthly subscription, stop anytime. This is where we want to be seen as a partner and not just as a supplier. We are your external data experts. Our team wants to help you understand how to benefit from your data and how to get new ideas and new insights. And together we go into the future. Our team wants to be challenged, no startup costs, development costs, and therefore risk-free for you. So this is also a unique part of our business module. So I'd like to show you a case study of a parking demo. This is only on the right side, you'll see the transactional data we have. This is the only kind of data we have received for this demo purpose. And to give you an idea, in the parking segment, every parking garage has about 3 to 5+ different systems from different suppliers. There is no standardized protocol whatsoever, and the data is all over the place. It's scattered. Usually they are manually compiling spreadsheets. That's time consuming in an effort of getting insight that takes a lot of time. And we extract all the data from these systems automatically and bring it into one environment. And we can even enrich it with, for instance, weather forecast, events, road maintenance, etc. per location, fully automated. So what you're currently looking at is our environment, our BI tool. And for a parking manager, it's very important to look at, for instance, what are my KPIs and how am I performing compared to over a period of time in a weekly income and transactional based. So for this demo purposes, we have put it into a place in Africa, but bear in mind, this is a real municipality and this is real life data in a Dutch municipality. But here you'll see our interactiveness that our BI tool brings, and the data is processed live as we speak. So I can click on a certain facility and it pops up everything that has to do regarding that facility and the KPIs and the metrics that are involved there. So it's very interactive as well. We can go a step deeper. We can go into see some key metrics. We can play around in the dashboard and see what the average occupancy of a certain location was over time. So if I say I want to see what's happening on this location, it recalibrates itself. And if I want to see, all right, but how many transactions are being paid with, for instance, a card, I click on the card and it shows you everything that has to do regarding these metrics that you want to zoom into. So we can really drill down into your own environment. So the predictiveness of the part is where we implemented the algorithms. We've taken into account weather forecasts. We've taken into account national events, holidays, and those kind of metrics. Again, per facility, and you can really drill down to see what am I going to expect for revenue also. I missed one slide. I want to pop back to that one. That was the revenue breakdown to give you an idea of how the revenue is performing quarter over quarter, month over month, compared to last year. And again, the interactiveness is also there to give you an idea per facility as well. But this can be personalized to cater your specific business needs. And now it's parking, but we have also been doing this for big retailers, e-commerce brands, you name it. We can extract the data from those systems and bring it through our pipeline into our BI tool for you to use. An addition part, like I mentioned earlier, is the dynamic revenue properties. So on the top left, you'll be seeing a weekly forecast. So this is a week in advance forecasted with, once again, taken into account the weather and those kind of topics like I earlier mentioned. And you can see they stand to make a 70K predicted nominal revenue. But what happens if I tweak certain variables? What happens if I say, well, if this garage is full between the 20 and 40% in occupancy, and I just increase my pricing with 40 cents, what does that do for my dynamic revenue? And you can really start playing around with your metrics in an effort of capture revenue opportunities there. So you can see, you can, based on your historical events, based on the enrichment that we've been implementing, you can tweak your pricing in order to get the maximum results. This is for the dynamic pricing. We can also do this, for example, for predictive maintenance issues, just-in-time deliveries, you name it. And we have the in-house expertise for you to tweak those kind of variables there. Just to give you an idea of the possibilities there and how we can visualize certain events on the fly, real-time processed, very fast. And I think that's pretty cool, if I might say so. So regarding the time, thank you for listening to my presentation, and hopefully you've been given some new insights regarding data centralization, visualization, and the power of AI, especially the advantages of centralizing, enriching, and visualizing all your data in one environment effortlessly. And once again, big thank you to Victor and Visser van Baars. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them later on. Happy to answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Max. I already see some questions and compliments coming in via the chat and YouTube. We're going to do one more presentation of Foster Vos. Foster, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Yeah.
I believe you're going to present about data governance to time to market. I'm going to start the time once you're set, and I wish you good luck too.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Today, I'd like to tell you something I've learned on publishing products on platforms, collaboration with third parties, and why customers are the data stewards you're looking for. The lessons learned are things I still use in current projects, so I hope it helps you. But first, let me give a short introduction to myself. My name is Vos de Vos, and I've always been interested in information, e-commerce, books, and technology, and worked for about 4 years with the Dutch company Bol.com to set up the data onboarding and data management processes to continuously improve their catalog of roughly 150 million products. And since 2018, I've started a small company called Pickabrain that is specialized in setting up data and innovation projects. And to be absolutely clear, that's me in the picture supporting an ex-colleague. All right, I've always been hugely interested in the combination of information, books, and technology, and therefore love to work with natural language processing, text mining, and image recognition to combine these things.
Well, sir, I'm going to stop you right here because I only see a white screen. Is it?
Oh, sorry.
So is something going wrong, perhaps, or? Okay.
I hope not.
Now we can see.
It was for the whole presentation.
Yeah, I thought we were still on your long, good introduction, so we could only see a white screen. Perhaps you can walk us through this one without a visual. Would that help?
No, I'm just trying to share it again. Now, these are things you don't want to endure.
I just paused the time. Don't worry about it. Take your time.
I was planned to start at 5. So, can you see it now?
I see it now. Yes.
All right. So I will do it again.
And now I only see the mouse, your cursor, and a white background. That's all we can see.
Oh no. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Because we tested it.
Yeah, I'm afraid the program doesn't support your technology. This presentation, at least.
Let me try one more thing. And now, can you still see a white screen?
Still see a white screen, I'm afraid.
Well, this doesn't go anywhere.
And if you manually click, I saw there was a band on the left side of the screen. And you can click one-on-one.
The left side on the screen. Okay.
I saw a band,
can you see
and
it now?
then you could, yeah, the first slide, yes.
Is it now visible, or isn't it?
Yeah, it looks okay.
Okay, so you can see my my presentation at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, so that's me underneath my my ex-colleague. All right. Okay. So yeah, I'm glad it works. I've always been hugely interested in the combination of information, books, and technology. And as I said, I love to work with NLP, text mining, and image recognition, and also DEMA, DMBOK to do some governance, and R and Python for data preparation and stuff like that. And for more than 20 years, I've been specialized in the book industry, healthcare, education, and e-commerce. And I help companies by kickstarting huge and complex data projects, which ideally are set to fail. And I love a good challenge. But usually I describe my MO as, well, I fuck shit up, and I leave again. But let's get back a few years to when I still worked at Bol.com as a senior business analyst, and was asked by the company to help finding a solution for an unforeseen and complex data issue. What was the matter with Bol.com? It was a B2C e-commerce company, and it was right in the middle of becoming a B2B2C platform seller and needed someone to design and implement a fitting governance model to regulate data onboarding and processing. And this involved a product catalog of more than 100 million supplier products and 50 million golden records. Well, that sounded seriously fun, so I suited up and accepted the job of data architect. And the governance model in place was a sound one. We had rules for data onboarding, created a golden record, and brought this to the customers. And we knew best how to validate factory information, get the right product pictures, and if there were no pictures, we made them ourselves. And we knew how to produce commercial text to inspire and inform our customers to help them personally, with a sole purpose, putting a smile on their faces. But how could we design a governance model in which everybody knew what was best for the customer? Well, to answer this, the first step I took was to visit our mother company, Ahold, and they were very nice and welcoming, gave me some cookies and a lot of insights on how we at Bol.com implement the GS1 standards and governance model, which they use themselves. It's very logical to give some advice on that. And they ensured me, when implemented correctly, we could have a waterproof data onboarding process in which products could be published on the web shop with all requirement information validated in 3 months time average. Well, this was the day my hair turned completely gray. I took one more cookie, said quickly goodbye, and in the car I rested my head on the wheel and maybe I cried a little bit, because it meant that our time to market would regress from 2 hours at that moment to 3 months average. And that was not the message I wanted to take back to my company. But as a side note, I should tell you, Ahold has hugely improved their process in the meantime, and they write a lot of articles on Medium about this during the journey. And you should read it some Wednesday if you are interested in this. But at the moment, what was the main reason for this delay of 3 months? It seemed when I investigated further, not only Ahold has this problem with data onboarding, but other retailers and platforms also try to help sellers and distributors by setting up rules and using standards for everything. So much help that the onboarding process lost its logic and seemed only to be manageable with large data management teams and data entry personnel. Well, I thought that stinks, but also wanted to understand what was the cause of this. I discovered this often was the result of trying to be in control of the process, to create a funnel that did not function without keeping strictly to the happy flow and needed a lot of explanation beforehand. And nevertheless, we tried to use the same principles and learn a lot from this. Immediately, we had a few issues. The first problem we encountered was scalability, because when we tried to onboard products, we essentially were onboarding parties. And each party, each seller had his own specific problem. This resulted in putting more effort in letting them adapt our rules and also our logic. And we noticed this way of working invited sellers to misuse the process also to sell automotive products, which was not a product category at Bol.com, within Garden Tools, or register their products to the category with the lowest commission to pay, stuff like that. They got really creative. And we gave them these opportunities because we asked them to give us the Bol.com data flavors, not use their own wording and structures. And they often had no other choice than the next best thing to choose to onboard the product. So it was not wholly their fault. And the second problem I encountered was self-inflicted. When we asked parties to wrangle the data until they got what matched our logic for the data onboarding, we had no before and after pictures to learn from this wrangling process. So we holders rejected incomplete data at the gates and thought our logic, data, and whole onboarding process was the best available. And we didn't have ways to listen to the why of, well, for us, wrong data when there is no data. So that gave me a crazy idea to turn it all around. We set up some experiments and proof of concepts to see what will happen when the gates are wide open. No rules, only guidelines. How bad could it be? Well, at first it was pretty bad. There was no structure. There was only wrong data, and we couldn't make anything from it. But surprisingly, as soon as we had heaps of data, we also fastened the onboarding process tremendously and had resources to put some magic at the end of it. And because we created process transparency by observability, we could swiftly act on real problems in the data and discover patterns to work on preventing them. And we used Python and R scripting and data science, machine learning, all the stuff like that. And at the same time, while learning, our transgression model grew quickly, in which we learned to define the most deadly products. And more importantly, the reason was apparent how we got these deadly products in the first place. We noticed, for instance, that a lot of illegal chemicals were published at one point. They came from unknowingly B2B sellers who were used to sell legally to companies who had a permit to buy these things. And this is something we would have never discovered when these were marked like as a cleaning product general or something like that, or not were published at all. So with each growth spurt, we could more easily prevent certain products being available for customers. I should mention that customers themselves were really helpful in detecting wrong or unwanted data, not only through product return reviews and social media, but also customer behavior patterns. They helped detecting existing problems right away. Okay, so we got rid of the data rule bottleneck before onboarding and publishing. We changed the game by not thinking what the customers would like to see or what the sellers should use logically to onboard products, but we listened to the seller, to the specialist, data science, and customers all together. Now, good news was that the publishing process sped up to 15 minutes, and things like pre-purchasing the next PlayStation or Xbox were possible without workarounds. Well, ironically, by not implementing data governance in the data onboarding process, I've made bol.com very happy. But of course, this is no rounded fairy tale. We're happy ending. We only created a new setting for the onboarding process and created new problems. Like Google, we had to make sure that Google didn't rank the wrong products for the whole world to see. So detaching the CEO data stream and from our publishing process helped a lot. Secondly, there was also a risk that insanely popular and trending products found a way to the customers before it was detected by us. For instance, for this reason, in 2017, a selection of 49 coffins were quickly being ranked most popular, and other people also looked for within an hour after publishing in the house decoration section. Box is a box. And thirdly, we were still responsible for not selling forbidden wares. That didn't change at all. So although this could also be seen as free publicity if it doesn't hurt anyone. So in short, the main thing we did was that we changed our focus. And by doing so, we could more easily regulate the process itself. I do not advise you to do the exact same thing within your company the next day, but I hope it broadens your view on how maybe you unknowingly block possibilities you should have. And if I had longer than 15 minutes, I could also tell you a lot more about the cool technical features, but this has to wait for another time. About the learnings. If I would sum up the learnings from this 3-year program, the following 4 things pop up in my head right away. One is, by including customers and sellers in the data onboarding process, we enlarged our data team. We essentially made it everybody's problem now. Everybody felt it like when something was wrong. Secondly, I've learned in a lot of cases that the hypotheses of gut feeling, as was said earlier in another presentation, seldom reflects reality. Don't be convinced you know things beforehand. And I also noticed that there's no such thing as useless data. Without materials, you cannot build things, is the way I think about it. And fourthly, usually we look at our competitors to improve ourselves, but sometimes you need to try differently to discover new things by yourself. Well, with a bit of a rough patch in the beginning, thank you for participating. I'm very relieved I've made it within the 50 minutes. Thank you so much for listening to my story, and I'm happy to answer your questions later on.
Thank you, Voster. So that was the last speaker. I'm now going to open a poll for you to vote for who was your favorite. So you should be seeing that right now. I'm not really sure whether you can also see the names, but speaker number 1, relevance regarding the data virtualization story. Speaker number 2 is Genie, the Excel-based automation tool for financials. Number 3 is Specif AI regarding artificial intelligence on machine learning. And speaker number 4 was just now Voster from Pickabrain regarding data governance to time to markets. I'm going to give you like a minute to cast your votes. I see that already 25 people did so keep them coming. Let's see whether I can share my screen to share the outcome with you. Good to know that after the session, we'll be hosting a Q&A. We got several questions I'm going to read out loud. If you have any follow-up questions, please do address the speaker personally. You can either do it via the website. You can also send us a message at info@visserenvanbeurs.nl, and we will send it forward and bring you in contact with your speaker. Also, you do get an email regarding this event. Please leave your review, tips for the next one, or your questions for the speakers today. So thank you in advance. We got 36 votes in right now. So I'm going to give you like half more minute, and we can go to the final score. Let me see if I can share it to you. No, that's not going to work. Okay, we have our final score. Everybody got votes. It's kind of quite close. So I'm only going to announce the winner of today. Host, if you would like to put your camera on, show yourself to the audience. Also regarding the upcoming Q&A. There's Foster, Max, René, and Daria. Thank you all. Personally, I really like to see that you all had your own methods of presenting, from sales sheet to a visual, and also, well told. I believe everybody made it within the 15 minutes. Foster might be a few seconds off, because we'll don't judge him for that. So the winner with 43% of the votes actually is Max. Congratulations.
Thanks. That's cool.
That's a fire. Yeah. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you all for the votes. And yeah, if you feel like you have some challenges regarding your data, your centralization properties, or would like to gain some more insights, please reach out. I'm happy to start a dialogue with you and see how it goes from there. Thank you so much.
Good to hear. Again, everybody got some votes. We'll send feedback afterwards to you too. So well done, everybody. Now we're going to do our Q&A. I listed, let's say, 10 to 15 questions. I'm going to just hustle them around, starting with the relevance. First question from Tom. Does relevance also include a data visualization layer on top?
The main core of relevance is a database, and there's a full on storage database where the data is stored on disk. There's no virtualization or any layer appropriate in that area. We are a middleware platform that can hold all kinds of data, and we have a user interface of APIs to connect to the system and retrieve data and use the logic to build your own applications or use your own UI.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Question from Interlaken for Genie, Daria. What type of financial organizations do you target?
Okay, so you need to think about it like this. Every organization has a finance department because you need to be reporting to the Belastingdienst, the tax office. So everyone does some finance tasks, and it's either outsourced to an agency or an accountant, or it's in-house and it's a finance team. So it's not like we are servicing banks or financial institutions, although they also have their internal finance department, but generally companies and their finance departments. And it can be a one-man band, it can be so even a ZZPR, it can be a department of 20 people, 50.
Okay, thank you. Move on to Specify, question via YouTube live from Joris. Max, how are you going to position yourself regarding the already established full stack suppliers?
So the proposition there is that we aim on 4 kind of niches. You can see that on www.specify.net, of course. But for instance, in the parking mobility segment, there are not really large entities there present, and nor to say the least in the state-of-the-art tooling that we use. Because of the fact that our infrastructure is therefore cloud-based and running on the microservices of the AWS Amazon cloud provider. So how are we presenting us in the market of, for instance, parking and mobility? We do that on the municipalities. We target them directly, and to give them the insights they require.
Okay. Thank you. Next one up for Voster, pick a brain. Marvin would like to know how much the license will cost him.
What license?
Doesn't specify, but I believe the license from one of the layers, if I'm correct. Let me see if Marvin is still in the Q&A.
Maybe it's a question for somebody else. I didn't try to sell something.
Okay. Well, if Marvin is still in the chat, I would like to know to who the question was addressed. But that's actually the only question you got too, Foster. Maybe someone.
That's easy.
You made a very clear presentation. That's all I can say. So we're going to continue.
When it works.
Yeah, right. No questions asked. So I got another one for Genie. Daria, when you mentioned Genie doesn't require any programming knowledge, what do you mean by that?
That means that literally you can start using Genie without any programming knowledge. What you do is basically you need to take pen and paper and you write down your process. And as you write it down, this is exactly the way how you can put together the steps, like literally like building a Lego castle or house or just a small construction.
Okay, thanks again. Most questions were for relevance in the start. So another one for you, René.
Okay.
Let's see, you got quite a few. So Interlaken is wondering where the compute is done. If you use, a handle data virtualization automation layer like Denodo, for instance.
Okay, like I said, relevance is the database. It has a distributed functionality, so we can hook up any hardware device and storage mechanism that could be anywhere and be connected via a central management and nodes. And the servers and the storage, they will do the calculation itself, regardless where they are, and they have a specific patented load balancing mechanism integrated in the database.
Okay, Hope that answers the question. Please do send more in the chat if something's not clear yet. I got one in from Tony, just a second. Let me see. He's wondering for everybody, he's not sure how to use your products in terms of, can you build it in a Tableau, or is it compatible with the Amazon WS? So perhaps you could also say something about your compatibility regarding other tools. Let's start with Foster.
Well, for me, it's simple. These are the things I use in the process I've described. So I don't use something else.
Yeah, it seems less relevant too, because it's more like a methodology, data governance instead of a...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I can answer it.
You may.
Okay. So, yes, you can build everything. The question is always the time and the cost. So, of course, some organizations will call in and VBA developers, and they're going to build whatever you want, but it's costly. So I used to do VBA development as well. I sat there for half a year. They spent a lot of money on that. And whenever they need to change something, they have to call me back, which is painful. So, and this is one thing. So money and also skills. Not everyone has the skills. Imagine a ZZ player, a one-man band, knowing all these tools. I don't think that it's going to work. So don't come from the place of I'm Google, Amazon, or I'm Bol.com, or I'm this big corporate, because this is not only what exists in the world. There are also smaller corporates, and they don't have the money for that. So they got basically something that's pre-made, built, and they are ready to use it. And they basically outsource this development.
Well, thanks for a clear explanation. Max, you got something?
So in addition to that, the previous answer, story is there. Why build it yourself if it's already there? That's the first part. Yes, you can utilize the Amazon AWS properties, TensorFlow and Tableau. Sure, but you have to have the in-house expertise there. We say you can't walk on one leg, so you need to hire a complete team for that. We have the team in-house, for instance. And we offer it for less than one cost of one FTA. So if you would invest heavily in acquiring and hiring a team, be my guest. But if you have the possibility for less cost than one FTA to have it all and get access to data scientists, software developers, high-end software development, and data analytics like the BI tools I just showed you, yeah, I wouldn't invest in hiring people. That would be a major risk.
I believe the question turned more to a reason to buy for everybody, but that's actually quite nice for the occasion. René, I'll let you go first. Foster, you can also have your time afterwards, perhaps, with a reason to buy. But René, on behalf of Relevance.
You want to give me an answer on the competition first?
Well, perhaps the question was more regarding compatibility with other tools, but it's more turned towards a reason to buy regarding other tools. So okay. Why should you pick Relevance above more established?
We see Relevance as the associative information system, as a database, which could be used as storage for data, for data warehousing purposes, for data lakes, or even under ERP systems to support them in that way. We are specific because we are associative. We connect all the data directly on the database in an associative way, without using a lot of labor work to set things up. That's our main core and our main differentiator, and that's the area we're in. We provide possibilities to load data, and we provide possibilities to use the logic and the data in the systems for any BI application or integration for Internet of Things or whatever. So we're in that area, and we are specific and unique in that area. There's no other system that does it like we do.
Thank you. I believe it's best if the remaining questions get sent afterwards, so you can just pick them up directly. So Volster, would you like to make one more remark regarding your solution?
Oh, well, it's not as much as a solution than insight, but for the rest, no, I'm content. I've said what I came for.
Thank you. We're actually quite on time, so this will be all for today. I would like to thank you all very much for being here, also the people to view for being here today. Going to be the next one. This was the Emerging Data Technologies edition number 1. So again, thanks, and we'll see each other another time.
Thank
Bye.
you, Victor, for organizing.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.